felt like abandonment. Or him saying, yeah, I'm going to come on Friday, I'm going to come get you. And then I sit there and he doesn't show up. Stuff like that says, well, dang, I'm not worth making a sacrifice for. Or, you know, it's something to me he doesn't like. Or he has a new family and I don't matter anymore. You see how that can turn? And that's not what I thought. But you see how that can turn in a child's mind? So then you become an adult who feels like you're not worth the sacrifice. Somebody says, I'm coming at 6 o'clock. They show up at 6:15. You blowing your lid. Or they say, I'm coming at 6 and they show up at, say, 8. Had an emergency. Text you. You missed the text or you missed the call. And now you are blasting them live on Facebook and text to anybody you can talk to, anybody you can tell it to, all because this abandonment started 20, 30 years prior. All in your childhood. All because of an issue that you have with your parent or whomever that you never resolved. Abandonment, you may have been adopted, you know, that leaves, I know everyone that I've known who's been adopted has definitely dealt with abandonment issues, identity issues, because they didn't really know the people who birthed them. So this stuff travels. I know we're using children as examples right now because we're talking about childhood and parental things, but please understand, this stuff continues through the years. It doesn't just happen as kids. It happens now. Right. We are 30 years old and we can feel abandonment from a parent. We could. If a parent just decided to bounce or not be there or not be responsible, even though we're not looking to them to fulfill our needs or whatever, we're fully grown, we're fully on our own, we're married, we have each other, but we still need our parents. So you see how that could affect our relationships? If I watched one parent beat another, which did, you know, that's not my circumstance, but say I watched one beat another, then my husband raises his voice, I could jump away like, he's about to hit me, he's about to beat me. You see what I'm saying? It's not just past relationships, it's childhood stuff too. That someone wrote a comment. Let me read this to you guys. I have someone very close to me at the age of 36 feels as though his mother abandoned him at the age of 4 because he looked and reminded her, I think this is supposed to say, of his father. The comment cut off. I think it's saying because of his father. Yeah, at 36, it's still very real. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what his father was like, but to be compared to his father then or now, it's all detrimental. None of it is helpful. None of it is effective.
Abandonment is a very, very, very cold feeling.
Oh yes.
And it's nothing that can be, easily warmed up. Abandonment is just abandonment. It's cold and it's hard.
It is.
Especially when there's no real explanation or there's no real understanding to it. That's just how it's going to come off. Mm-hmm. Abandonment, cold. So let's say, for example, not saying that she would do this, but let's just say my wife decided she wanted to go somewhere and didn't tell me. Like, that could make me feel, if I had abandonment issues, that could make me feel some type of way. Wait a minute, you just up the bounds. You didn't tell me where you were going. You didn't say nothing. Like, what am I supposed to think? How am I supposed to feel?
Yeah, not only is that being unaccountable, but yeah, if that person has severe abandonment issues, it could definitely birth that.
Yeah,
definitely.
And that's something that you have to, when you're older, when you're talking about two people coming together, that's something that you have to be honest with. Mm-hmm. If you have suffered from some abandonment issues and you have not healed from it, you need to be honest, because that stuff comes out in the rinse.
Oh, it always comes out.
It really does come out in the rinse.
Does. Always. Let's because I really want to hit all of these before we wrap up our time. Favoritism. I did not have this problem because I had a stepbrother who was younger than me. And then my father went on to have younger children after I turned 17. So I have very young siblings. So I didn't necessarily experience this. As I said, being my mother's only child, and then, my mother had a stepson. I didn't experience this, but I remember being younger, and, I was always really good in school. I always had straight A's. I always had really good grades. I was always just really studious. And I remember having like cousins and things like that who got bad grades, and I would hear things like, why can't you get grades like Ebony? Why can't you do what Ebony's doing? That made me cringe as a child. I knew that was wrong as a child because I knew I didn't want to be compared to anybody. I didn't want anybody saying to me, won't you be like so-and-so? Because I was just trying to figure out how to be me. yet alone try to figure out how to be somebody else. So that kind of stuff definitely scars people. And as adults, that's where we get all of this, trying to find the word for it. That's kind of where we get all of this Facebook social media stunt and stuff from. That's where we get people who are, trying to buy the flashiest thing, or buying cars they really can't afford, buying houses they can't afford, because they're trying to keep up with the Joneses. That's how that starts. Favoritism, being compared, other people being favored as if their circumstances are greater than yours. That's how that starts. And when you're married, it becomes, well, you know what? So-and-so's husband brought them a Benz. I gotta break my back to buy you a Benz. Knowing good and well, doing that could send you into foreclosure, put you in all kinds of debt. And debt is one of the number one reasons for divorce. So you see how that cycle could go on. Something so simple that started as a seed as a child could now ruin what could have been a very long and fruitful and prosperous marriage.
Or something as small as, I see the way Ebony look at her husband. How come you don't look at me like that? Nah, that sounds crazy.
We've heard it said. That's why I'm dying.
Crazy.
We heard that said multiple times.
But do you hear that statement is full of insecurity?
Yeah, it is.
Full of insecurity.
You don't know what Ebony and her husband have been through for her husband to look at her like that. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't know what kind of sacrifices may have been made behind the scenes, or what they dealt with for that kind of love and admiration to exist.
Right,
You're
but
not
you
there.
also got to look at the fact that that particular person growing up might not have heard that they were beautiful at the time. Right. Stuff like that. Small stuff like that. It goes back to the foundation. All right, parents. Listen.
All right, so we've dealt with... here's what I want to tap on really quick. I'm not going to stay on it too long. And we've read it, and I know you were probably like, what? This one, parents have the best of intention. You really do. And I really feel like I'm going to be that one too. I'm going to try not to be. But sheltering and overprotecting your kids from things they really need to know from the real world can be extremely detrimental. I know some people who are very resentful towards their parents because at age 30, some of them still haven't gotten out on their own. They haven't gotten their own stuff. Not because they necessarily didn't want to, because their parents created this, you don't ever have to leave home. I got you. I'm going to take care of you.
Safety net.
I'm going to pay. There you go. I'm going to pay, I'll pay your bills. Don't worry about it. Just stay home. Whether it's because that parent was actually really afraid or anxious of what would happen to them in the real world, or if it was because their parent, believe it or not, sometimes parents can treat children like spouses. I don't know if y'all realize that. I've seen it play out in some different television shows. I could probably name a few, where the single mother treats the son as if he's a husband. What is that movie? Loretta Devine is the mother. It's one of the Tyler Perry movies. Loretta Devine was the mother. Paula Patton was the girl he was marrying. What's that movie called?
That wasn't a Tyler Perry movie, I think I know what you're talking about.
What was that movie?
Jump the Broom.
Jump in the Broom. Was it called Jump in the Broom?
Jump the Broom?
It was called Jump in the Broom. Absolutely, because that's what their fight was about. She didn't want to jump the broom. And he said to his mother, Mom, you're treating me like I'm my deceased father. I'm not your husband. I'm your son. I can't give you what he gave you. You can't expect from me what you expect from him. I have to live my life. I have to do what makes me happy. And sometimes, parents with the utmost best of intention, you try to shelter them. You don't want them to know certain things. And then they go out into the world and they're just lost. Just lost.
Either lost or having to learn stuff the hard way.
I mean, it's one and the same to me. I mean, you know, they don't know how to interact with people. They're socially awkward. They do things that are inappropriate. And people look at them like, what's wrong with them? Why would they laugh at that? Why would they say that? Well, because at home they're sheltered and they don't know anything about it. I knew someone I went to school with in high school. I wish my best friend was on here. We went to high school with a girl who, when we went to the movies to see PG-13 or whatever, people would kiss and she would cover her eyes. I'm talking at 16. At 16, people would kiss and she would cover her eyes. People would kiss or boo up in the hallway and she would get nervous.
Or nauseous.
We were like, what's wrong with her? She was
Goodness.
completely and utterly sheltered. She was told, that kind of affection is inappropriate publicly. I don't know about any of you, but some people, were taught that PDA, public displays of affection, is inappropriate. I do believe it can go too far. But there's some people who don't fit, this is too much for some people. Married or not, this is too much. And then you have people who just go too far, who just make it out in church. That's the polar opposite. But you have some people who would just shelter. They don't.
All their parts.
Some people just aren't exposed to certain things, and they just get quite a culture shock when they get out and get into the real world. It pays to raise your children with balance so that when they become adults, they'll still maintain that same level of balance and won't be so off-put when they see things that don't look like their example at home. I hope I'm saying that clear enough. So as I said, nobody's born broken. Nobody is born broken. Nobody, comes out with issues. You come out with an absolutely clean slate, but you're born into a dirty world. For instance, one thing I learned in anatomy physiology, there are some bodily fluids such as your blood and stuff that internally appear and may not even have a scent. But when they hit the dirty air, they change from your blood is blue. But when it becomes oxygenated, it turns red. There are certain things internally that don't have a stench. But when they come out, the air causes a whole nother thing to develop. It causes putrefaction and all of these things to happen to these bodily fluids. So, said all of that to say, we come into this thing clean and clear. Some of us came into love and relationships with our heads clear. We came into this dating thing, whether we were teenagers or waited till we were adults, or like some of us started dating earlier than our parents knew we were. And, we end up with all of this baggage and all of these hurts, and we take it into the next situation without giving that person a chance to prove that they are not that. We start automatically comparing them and having crazy expectations of them. You're going to date me, you got to pay all my bills. You're going to date me, you got to adopt my son because his father left, and I'm not going to be with another man that don't want to raise a child. Crazy stuff. We don't give people a chance to show us who they are. We just automatically throw all of this stuff on them.
You just said it, and it's so funny because as crazy as it sounds, a lot of times that's what happens. It's like as soon as you meet the person, okay, well, I got 3 kids, I got yada 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 yada, I got access to this. You want all of this, and by the time you're done with that list, they're looking at you like, wait, what just happened? What did I just see? Okay, never mind.
Not even giving them a chance to understand. They saw you in the mall with your 3 kids. They know you got 3 kids, but they still wanted you. So give them a chance to get used to them, and then bring all that baby daddy, baby mama drama and stuff into it. Let them deal with that eventually. But we just throw this stuff on people, and it that's how we end up with these pieces. We end up trying to put it all together, and it's just not adding up. It's not happening. Because we have segments and fragments of us that have been left in other situations that we come into it expecting somebody to make us whole, and they don't have that power. But we talked about all of the things that are wrong and all of the different things that break us. What can you do if you are with someone who's broken? You're broken. How can you now find healing? How can you both not just find healing, but wholeness? You can heal an issue and still not be whole. But how do you find wholeness? Some of you know, psych is my first love. It's my area of study. And the reason why I got into it is because I wanted to know why people did what they do. And my husband can tell you, even in our relationship, I'm always trying to find the underlying cause of stuff. I'm always, why did you say that? What was your mindset when you said that? Well, no, or if I feel like I'm not being understood, well, that wasn't my mindset. I really meant, I was saying it because, Yeah, right?
Yeah, I'm good.
I was saying it because, you know, we hate, and that's both of us really, we hate to be misunderstood. So we try to give the background of why we felt and how we felt and all of that other stuff. But as a partner,